Welcome everyone to Behind the Ropes Media. Today we will go through the chronicles of a special guest. He is a wrestling legend and one of the greatest extremists wrestling has ever seen, also known as the Dirty Charm. We bring to you New Jack. New Jack, how you doing today?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well, and we're also going to bring you from Behind the Ropes Media, our host today, none other than Vincent LaSpada. Vinny, what's going on?
What's good, guys? Getting ready to go through a trip of memory lane.
Yes, definitely a trip through memory lane, but still relevant today in the year 2020. Actually, a good memory for the year 2020. And I am also one of your hosts from Unpopular Reviews, the executive consultant, Chris Harris. Welcome, everyone, to this special interview with New Jack. And Vinny, you go ahead and you take it away.
New Jack, what's going on, brother?
I'm chilling, man.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
Man, I wanna jump right into it because I watched Dark Side of the Ring, and I'm not gonna go word for word like everybody else does, but I want to ask you. I know a gentleman named Ray Candy.
Yeah.
He was the one that trained you.
Yeah.
But what does Ray Candy mean to you more than just training? I mean, what was Ray Candy in the wrestling business?
Ray Candy was over down south, Memphis, Tennessee, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? He was on the chitlin circuit, and he brought a lot to the table. Him and Leroy Brown, they tagged, and they had a tag team called the Zamboy Express. That's where me and Mustafa got a lot of our shit from. Ray trained me, and it didn't take long for him to train me and to put me in the ring, and he told me to go for it, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things he always told me was, he was like, New Jack, create something that you've never seen before. And the first time I heard that, I was like, that's a mind fuck. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, if I ain't never seen it, how in the fuck am I gonna create it? But that was the challenge to me. So the Gangsters were born.
So in the beginning, before any of the promotions, did you know what kind of style of wrestling that you wanted to go into? I mean, did you have somebody that you watched, idolized, that you thought, hey, I want to be that guy, but then I want to be my own self?
Well, I watched Ray Candy and Leroy Brown, like I said. And the style that they had, they were slow, but to the point, convincing, you know what I mean? If they threw a punch, it was almost like a fucking finish. You know what I mean? And it was like, they brought a lot to the table, which it gave me the chance to not copy them, but it gave me the chance to create a character that nobody had seen before in wrestling. And I did it, and I've been copied, but they can copy me all day long, but they can't get the shit right.
Okay. And then I know this for a fact, you got your name New Jack from the 1992 New Jack City. Besides that, is there anybody or anything or any other, is there another character that you would want to incorporate from a movie into New Jack if it wasn't from New Jack City?
No.
Okay.
No. When I went to the movie and I sit down and I was playing with it in my head when they said New Jack, and I could picture myself. I could picture the audience, the fans chanting, New Jack, New Jack, New Jack. It's like Bootsy Collins, Boots said, Dusty Rhodes, Dusty. It had a ring to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I took it and I ran with it.
Yep. And I think it's a great. It was a great ring name, and a lot of people they don't do that anymore. They get brainwashed by corporations that say, hey, listen, this is going to be your name, and that's it. We don't care about your idea.
Nice. Very nice. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these accomplishments by the name of New Jack. When did you realize that New Jack was really taking off, that you were New Jack, people knew you were New Jack? Movie aside, we've all seen the movie, right? Movie aside, when did you realize, hey, this is now me? People don't even know who I am anymore. People don't even know my birth name anymore. They know me as New Jack.
When I went to Smoky Mountains.
Smoky Mountain.
I went to Smoky Mountain in '94. And me and Mustafa did that for we was at Smoky Mountain for a year. And that put us on the map.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And it was like the shit that we was doing I couldn't even believe half of the shit that I was doing, that I was saying. I was just like, Cornette would be like, just go out there and cut a promo. And I would just I'd go and do it. And it all came off the top of my head.
Speaking in Smoky Mountain, I'm going to say a date, and I want you to let me know if you remember this date. I'm sure you remember the date well. September 17th, 1994. You and Mustafa versus the Rock and Roll Express. And the Rock and Roll Express was big in Smoky Mountain. They were big in the world of wrestling as they dominated the tag team division for a long, long time. You to face them, do you remember that date?
Not really the date. I remember when we started working them. I can't tell you what date it was.
Okay.
But we started working them, and Ricky and Robert taught me a lot. You know what I mean? I always give Ricky credit for helping me and working with me. Ricky, Robert, Tracy Smothers, Dirty White Boy. You know what I'm saying? They all had a hand in what New Jack was doing. I was learning. It was like on-the-job training. I was learning from them. You know what I mean? And I would take what they had to give me and take it to the ring and make my own little brew out of it. And I would take it to the ring and do my thing.
Nice. Smoky Mountain Wrestling was definitely your start and it taught you a lot. Ricky and Robert, who still go today.
Yeah, them boys, they'll be around forever.
They are doing. They're doing Canadian Destroyers out there too. Last time I saw. But do you have a particular moment in Smoky Mountain Wrestling? Because as I told you earlier, behind the ropes. As I told you earlier, that's when I first discovered you. That's when I first discovered a lot of wrestlers. Al Snow, King, The Rock actually came from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You were there at the time with Flex Cavana, were you?
No.
You weren't? Okay. Came from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Do you have a favorite match or memorable moment from Smoky Mountain Wrestling that's always going to be ingrained into your memory, even in 2020?
The promo that I cut about O.J. Simpson.
Nice.
When I said, 2 less to worry about. Keep up the good work, 2 less to worry about. You know what I mean? That came from Cornette. Cornette was like, Jack, go out there and cut a promo to make white people mad. And I was like, okay. He said, he came back a few minutes later. He said, say something about OJ. So I took that and combined it into what I was doing and my character being from South Central LA, you know what I mean? And it was like, LA was on the map then, it was hot, it was on fire. Rodney King beating was going fucking crazy. Correct. OJ had killed everybody in fucking LA. So it was just a deal where I was like, I'm gonna take this fucking shit and run with it. Right. So I cut that promo and that, we took off.
I actually think I have that promo pulled up here if you want to take a look at it real quick, guys.
I'm gonna drop you down. I'd like to send a special shout out to my homeboy, O.J. Simpson. Keep up the good work, baby. 2 less we got to worry about. You understand? Keep up the good work. Louis Farrakhan will be the next president. Snoop Dogg, we know you're innocent. You called me last night. You understand? Get ready, Smoky Mountain, because we're going to set this place on fire.
All right, fans, there they are. The team to be heard from is Smoky Mountain Wrestling. New Jack, Mustafa Saeed.
Now, real quick, I want to ask this question.
I just want to say black don't crack. Go ahead.
Yeah.
when
black do crack.
Oh, he's talking about something different.
Oh boy.
Black don't crack, but black do crack.
Black don't crack, but black do crack. I can't say that.
Now, when you
got a 20-twin twin. Yeah, go.
calling this in the Western.
Oh, you trying to be down, right?
Oh, I know that's one of my favorite movies.
All right, go ahead.
I know that. Friday.
Yeah.
When he comes up and goes, come on, give me some of that for the cataracts. No. This is, you didn't chip in, man. No.
All right, go ahead.
Twin, yeah. Around here in the over Fifth West Baptist Church.
Go ahead. You trying to earn your card? Go ahead.
All right, listen. When that promo hit, what was the feeling in that room like? I mean, and just the reaction of the crowd. I know you're in the back, but when you came out, was it so intense in there that I know you didn't really give a shit because you let things sweat off your back.
I knew it was over when the cops came back in the locker room and told me that we was gonna have to follow them to the police station, so they was gonna have to follow us to the highway. Okay, and to cut a promo like that in 94, that was unheard of. But I did it and got away with it, and it was over. They hated me, and that's what I was looking for.
Right, okay. And then also, we talked about this earlier. Was Ricky Morton was the one that told you had a green Corvette, correct? It wasn't green. It was what? Teal. And Ricky came up to you and says, "Man, you can't drive that here. They'll destroy it. You have to buy a piece of shit."
I went out and spent $300 on a van. The tires didn't match. The door wouldn't close on the passenger side, and we had to tie it with rope to close it. And that's what we were traveling in. You know what I mean? And I had my Corvette down in Knoxville, where I had to park down there. So when we would finish the shows, I would go in and get my car, and then I would leave.
Right.
But yeah, they was trying to fuck my shit up.
Have did they ever do anything to your car?
No.
What and I always had this in mind. What kind of music did New Jack listen to get him hyped up to go to the ring? What was something that you would play through your head like, this is going to get me in the zone?
Public Enemy, Can't Trust This. I would listen to that CD for fucking hours. You know what I mean? And it was over, and they was on the pro-black thing. You know what I mean? And it was like that. It fit what we was trying to do. It fit right there with it.
Nice. Let's talk about another date that's coming up. The month of May is very special to me, so I had to do a little personal shout out. But May 20th, 1995, it was the Gangsters versus THUG Doug, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, Charlotte. Do you remember this particular match? Do you remember working with those two?
Tracy Smothers, Dirty White Boy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tracy Smothers was actually a good hand, very underrated. Around this time, you were really getting hot in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. The question I have to you is, around this time, did WWE or WWF at the time ever approach you to possibly be a part of their promotion?
They offered me a deal to be a backup to Ron Simmons.
I had a feeling, yeah.
They brought D'Lo in, and they wanted me to come in to play backup. And I was like, I said I would kill Ron Simmons on promos. I said, he can't out-talk me, and I knew he couldn't. So we couldn't come to an agreement, so I said, fuck him. I stayed at Smoky Mountain.
You think you would have been part of the Nation of Domination?
Yeah, I would have been a part of that bullshit.
Nation, I'm trying to imagine you in the outfit right now with your fist up, saying Nation of Domination. That's very interesting. All right, go ahead.
I want to know, is there ever a point in your career while a fan ever pushed you to the limit to where you were just going to lose it and just take them out?
I had a fan in West Virginia. He kept calling me a nigger. And I was in the ring, and he came up to the security rail, and he was like, "You fucking nigger, get the fuck out of here, you nigger. Go back to fucking South Central LA. You fucking nigger. I was like, what the fuck? After my match, I jumped out of the ring and jumped over the rail and chased him out the back door. So picture this. It was DeMarc, it was me, it was Ricky, it was Robert, it was Mustafa, it was the referee. They was all in one line.
Oh, out the door?
Out the door. They were chasing me and I was chasing him. And I didn't catch him. The motherfucker had on cowboy boots and some Levi's, but he outran me. You know what I mean? But I was like, I got mad and I was like, what the fuck? So Ricky was like, Jack, understand something. For them to boo you, that's like for them cheering me. You know what I mean? He's like, you a heel. So you want them to boo you. You want them to call you nigga. He said, he didn't say nigga, he said the N-word. You know what I mean? And I was like, Ricky, fuck that. You know what I mean? So he was like, no, that's what you want them to do. He said, that means you're doing your job. So it was a lesson learned, and I took it and I ran with it. You know what I mean? And it was something for me to learn from, so I took it and dealt with it.
Nice. Let's keep it going now. Keep it moving. August 3rd, 1996, you make your premiere in ECW. My question to you on this one is, who was the one to reach out to you? Was it Paul Heyman himself that reached out to you and asked you to join ECW? And tell me about your experiences there.
Todd Gordon.
Todd Gordon.
Todd is God. It was Todd that he had called me, and I take that back. Al Snow gave me Todd's number. He gave me Todd's number. So
From Smoky Mountain.
I called him, and I was like, we getting ready to be through in Smoky Mountain. So he was like, well, can y'all come up here in 2 weeks? And I went and told Cornette, and Cornette was like, no, Jack, I need you here for like another month. I was like, my run up here is done. I said, Todd is offering me a lot of money to come to ECW and do that shit, so I'm going. So me and Cornette fell out for a few years after that. But I left.
Cornette and your relationship, was that pretty tight when you were in Smoky Mountain Wrestling? Because I know his name caused a lot of controversy today in the world of wrestling, but tell me about your relationship with Jim Cornette.
I was cool with him, you know what I mean? I didn't have a problem with him. I mean, he is who he is. You know what I mean? We all got fucking faults, and he got plenty of them. But I didn't have a problem with him. We did business, and we worked together, and he helped me a lot, and I took the shit and ran with it.
So from Jim Cornette to Paul Heyman, what were some of the differences? Because those are two extreme, huge personalities in the world of wrestling. So is there anything particular that you liked more about Paul Lee Dangerously as opposed to Jim Cornette, or disliked, so to speak?
Not really. I mean, they're promoters.
True.
You know, and promoters, most of them are full of shit. You know what I mean? It's all about the money. That's all it's about. It's about the fucking money. And they'll tell you the fucking sky is fucking purple. And if you don't know, you would go outside and look to see if it is purple. You know what I mean? And they would both lie. But that's what they were there for.
Right.
They put me on TV. They got my name out there. My character was over. And I didn't have a problem with it.
That's good. Let's go to the first big ECW match, so to speak, that you had. It was the ECW house show. It was the Gangsters versus Mass Transit and Devon Dudley. This is something that I'm sure you've talked about over and over and over again. But if you want to walk us through it one more time and tell us pretty much about your experience in the atmosphere in that arena as you had that match.
I can't believe you asked me that shit. Because I've talked about it. It's in my book.
True.
Buy the book, you'll read about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's on the internet. I've done shoot DVDs with the shit in there. So it's there, and you know it's there, but you want to ask me the same fucking question, so I'll answer it one more time.
Okay.
Mass Transit showed up with two midgets, and he wanted to try out. Well, Axel Rotten wasn't able to make the show that night because he had a death in his family. I think his grandmother had passed. So I told Paul Lee, I said, there's a fat kid out there that he's like 400 something pounds. I said, let him take Axel's place, and we just gonna fuck him up, and we ain't gonna touch Devon. So when it came time for us to do the match, I hit the ring, and Devon came at me, and I threw Devon out of the ring, and he didn't come back in the ring. We were just beating the fuck out of Mass Transit. He had told me before the match, he was like, Jack, I want to get color. No, he said, Jack, I want to bleed. And I was like, you want to bleed? He was like, yeah, I want to bleed. I'm like, have you ever done it before? He was like, no, but can you do it? I was like, sure, I'll do it. Not a problem. So when it came time for me to get color, I had a surgical scalpel about that long. And I had it taped to a piece of wood. It looked like a knife. I started stabbing him in the head with it, and it wasn't shit coming out. So I sliced him, and the blood was pouring out. It was skeeting out. You could see the shit from miles away. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I didn't go to jail that night, but they took out a warrant for me about 9 months later, and I had to go to Boston to surrender myself. And they set a trial date, and we had a trial. and they offered me 5 years to serve 1 if I plead guilty. And I was like, fuck that, I ain't pleading no guilty to this shit. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So my attorney was Jim Murberg. He told me, he was like, New Jack, I think we can beat it. I said, all right, if we don't beat it, I'm gonna come looking for your ass. You know what I mean? So he was like, okay, let's just go for it. So we went for broke. They found me not guilty.
Sure, I say.
What would you say in ECW would be one of your favorite feuds? Would it be with the Dudley Boys, or would it be with one half of your tag team with Mustafa? What would the match be that you had a good feud with?
The Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
We had some matches that were second to none. You know what I mean? And I mean, we would go out there and get color all over the goddamn building. We'd fight all over the building, and we would just fucking destroy each other. There was nobody that could follow us. It was Public Enemy.
Didn't you earlier we were talking, didn't you say that you had a little thing going on with some of the guys in the back for the color? You had the...
Yeah. me, Balls, Axel, and Cronus, we would do a bet. $20 from each one of us, put it in the pot. Who could get the best color? And Kronos would win every fucking time. I mean, dude, he'd get color. You couldn't even see his face. His fucking whole face is fucking red. You know what I mean? And you could see his eyes. He opened his eyes. He looked like a fucking zombie. But Kronos would always win. And I would cut my fucking head so that you could smell fucking bone. And I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But it was Kronos always won.
Keep on.
Yeah.
New Jack. Oh, how many world title shots opportunities did you have in ECW?
2.
You remember one with Mike Awesome, ECW on TNN?
Yeah.
Can you walk us through a little bit of that match? How did you like that match?
Mike came up to me and he said, Jack, are you gonna use the staple gun? I was like, yeah. He said, well, I heard it hurts. And I don't wanna get stapled in my forehead because it might leave a fucking scar. I said, Mike, it's a staple gun. It's a fucking staple. All right? So I was like, I'll take the staples out of the gun and I'll work it. When I staple your head, you get color on your own. I said, I'm not gonna staple you. And he was like, you sure? I was like, yeah, you big ass fucking sissy, yeah. You know what I mean? Right. So I went and I stapled him and he got color and it worked out right.
Nice. All right, let's talk about you versus Rick Grimes from March 12, 2000, ECW Living Dangerously, the Danbury Fall. It's also one of your prominent moments of your ECW career.
Yeah, I got hurt that night.
Did you?
Yeah. We were supposed to both of us were supposed to fall through a table, and Vic decided to pull back. And we was having this conversation during the match. Right. I was like, Vic, let's go. He was like, Jack, I can't do it, it's too high. I said, motherfucker, we on TV. I was like, we on pay-per-view. I said, let's go. He was like, Jack, it's too high. I said, we're going on 3. 1, 2, 3, and I pulled him. And he did this fucking monkey flip, and his back landed up against my head, and it drove my head into the floor, and I cracked my skull.
Would you say that's one of your worst injuries of your career?
That was the worst.
The worst by far. Which led to a later match between you and him at XPW Free Fall, February 23rd, 2002, where you became even, so to speak?
Yeah. I got him on that fucking scaffold. Well, he had came up to me before the show, and he was like, Jack, I want to give you a peace offering. I was like, what? He gave me an 8-ball of coke. And I was like, what you want me to do with this? He said, we okay now, right? And I was like, let's go do the match. All right? I said, let's go do the match. So he didn't know whether I was coming or going. All right. So once we got in the ring and started doing our shit, and then we climbed up on the scaffold, and I had bought a taser, and I tased him about 6 or 7 times, and then I threw him, and he was like, "Jack, I can't feel my legs." I said, "You ain't gonna need them." And I threw him, and he did a fucking flip on the table and hit the rope.
Yeah, and he actually did not get as injured as much as most people probably would think from that. So good for him. But
fuck him.
Did you enjoy that moment?
Yeah.